You do not need me to tell you that it sucks to be injured. That is why new videos have been rather sparse on this channel. My channel members know what's been going on with me, and they've encouraged me to share how I'm coping, because it just is more difficult as you get older. So I'm going to try not to whinge in this video, but I do hope to explain what has been happening and more positively what I'm doing about it.
We'll also consider some recent research suggesting that time completely off training is not a problem long term, provided you start again. It might even be beneficial, so please stick with this video for that.
First though, a bit of perspective for me. I haven't got cancer, I haven't got a major heart condition, so compared to some people that I know, I have nothing serious. Perhaps I shouldn't complain, but I can explain.
Shortly after I did this group ride at the end of April, my right shoulder started hurting when I was on the bike. It was a development of something I'd been trying not to think about for quite a while.
Turns out I have had a small bulge in a disc in my neck for over a year, and it's been pressing on my nerve roots, causing pain down my arm, which of course I'd been ignoring. My shoulder started working in a bad way. I've had ultrasound, I've got tendinitis, bursitis, muscles tightening up, pain in my rhomboids. It all came together, and the upshot was I just couldn't hold the handlebars of my bike without it being painful.
So I switched to running, a little too enthusiastically. Going from 1 to 3 runs a week aggravated an old knee injury, and I feared that could become chronic.
So I had to stop running and get advice and exercises from a physiotherapist. And you know what? Even such relatively minor injuries feel worse when you're over 60. And I'm sure that is because you feel as though the clock is ticking.
In the very first video of this series, I mentioned a motivational technique which invites you to consider the limited time you have left to cycle, run, and do all the stuff you want to do. It's called 10 summers.
What if we only had 10 summers left? And I've used that to avoid procrastination, to motivate me, like a mind trick, not to defer doing that long hill walk with Liz or that multi-day ride somewhere really special.
It worked well when I was fit, but injury flipped this positive attitude on its head, and now I'm panicking. What if I only have 10 summers left? I've had to cancel a big ride I had planned. I can feel my fitness ebbing as time ticks away. That is depressing. For someone who rarely drinks, our recycling box holds some evidence. Not clinical depression, but still real.
I've just felt sorry for myself. I've been thinking about wasted time and what I can't do, which I eventually realized is exactly the wrong way around to focus on this.
Turning the negativity on its head, I focused on what I can do, hill walking, and here in the Scottish Highlands I'm in the perfect place. I can't overdo it because dear Maggie is 12 years old and can only manage a few hours. So we've been getting out every day, motion is lotion as they say, and it really has helped. As has the support from members of my channel. I'm not taking new members at the moment, but I'm extremely grateful to all those who've stuck with me. If you can watch this to the end, that will also help.
I've gradually started adding weight plates to my rucksack, and I've got my poles with me for the downhills to protect my knees. Being out on the hill every day is good for both of us in so many ways.
My outlook has improved. Being outdoors reduces cortisol, the so-called stress hormone. The serotonin and dopamine release improves my mood, sleep's improved, and my motivation. I'm finally making another video. I've added some intensity on hills without Maggie, and that has been slowing the rate of decline of my VO2 max as measured by my Apple Watch. In fact, it went up a little recently. It's not as quad or glute dominant as cycling, but walking still activates hamstrings, calves, hip stabilizers, as well as postural muscles, the core muscles. This is particularly true on those hills. I do have to reduce the calories I'm eating and drinking because the overall exercise load is down. I'm trying to use one of the calorie tracking apps, but for me this is the hardest thing about being off the bike. Finally, I've been given rehabilitation exercises for my knee and shoulder, which I do 5 days a week, so I feel I'm making a positive change. Walking reinforces these, in particular proprioception, balance and glute activation.
I'm not daft. I know I am detraining because I can't cycle and I'm missing out on the great trip that I had planned. But I've also come to realize that I'm wrong to build my entire personality and mental health around running and cycling, because one day I probably will not be able to do any of this. But the good news is, recent research I only read this morning is starting to show in the long run a break of 10 weeks can do no harm. In fact, might even be beneficial.
It's actually from last September, done in Finland and based around resistance training. The first group trained continuously for 20 weeks, with the second group doing 10 weeks on, taking 10 weeks off, and then retraining for 10 weeks again. In the first 5 weeks of retraining, that second group had regained virtually all of their lost strength and size, and in some measures they improved faster than their continuous group. So the conclusion, trainees should not be too concerned with occasional short-term training breaks in their daily lives when it comes to lifelong strength training.
Now, an important caveat, the people who took part were new to training, so more studies are clearly needed in more athletic types. But it illustrates that time off is just a part of life. It's the long term and building the resilience that really counts.
By focusing on what I can do, rather than fixating on what I can't, I have a positive roadmap to recovery. I'll be in better condition to get back into cycling when my injuries improve. We've even booked a hiking holiday to replace the cycling trip that I had planned.
I hope wherever you are in your recovery, you find this, well, even a little bit helpful. For entertainment, you might like to check out this video. It was made fairly recently when I was still able to ride my bike. I hope you will like it. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and maybe make a comment if you wish, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.